Good morning, Josh. Thank you very much for joining us at Six Star Cruises today.
Nice to see you, Alison. I hope everyone in your family, extended friends, and of course in the UK are doing just fine.
Thank you, Josh. That's good. And to you. So first of all, I just want to ask a little bit about Seabourn generally. So you've held your position as president of Seabourn since June this year. Obviously, you've held a number of roles within the Carnival Corporation Group before that. What a year for you to take the helm of a new cruise line, or a new cruise line to you. For those of our customers who've not experienced a Seabourn cruise yet, what, in your view, are the key touches and experiences that set Seabourn apart?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. It is an unusual time to take a new role on like this. It's sort of like, in case of emergency, break the glass, and then I get appointed into this role, and it's an unusual time. What makes Seabourn different, I will tell you something. It all comes down to our people. Our frontline team are motivated and driven by a few basic ideas. First and foremost, we have an unrelenting commitment to compliance, environmental protection, and the health, safety, and well-being of our guests, our crew, and the people in the places we visit. And that's unrelenting. And alongside that is a commitment to delivering what we call Seabourn moments. And Seabourn moments are these intuitive service moments. You sit down and the waiter or waitress remembers that you like your cappuccino with just a little bit of cinnamon, and they bring it to you as you're sitting down coming in from a shore excursion, or a tall glass of water, or a tea a certain way. And those intuitive moments define Seabourn. So we have gorgeous ships, and I'm sure we'll talk about them, and they're in both our backgrounds, and we go to the most incredible places in the world. But when people come home, they talk about the people.
I think that's so difficult to get across as well. I can imagine the customers who are watching this that have experienced Seabourn will be nodding and thinking that they can think of when they've experienced those things, but they're quite hard to bring to life until you've actually experienced them in real life, aren't they? So that's one of the many things we're missing about being able to cruise right now.
Absolutely.
So speaking of not being able to cruise right now, what can you tell us about when Seabourn may restart sailing? Obviously, it's the million-dollar question. It's not an easy one for you to answer, but I think it's one of the things that our guests want to try and get a little bit of indication about. And in addition to when you will start sailing, what kinds of things do you think will have changed about the onboard experience?
Is the million-dollar question. I'm going to give you a couple of ways to think about it. First, and I hope people appreciate this answer, we're going to sail when the conditions are right to sail. We are not going to sprint to the start line, so to speak. In the meantime, we are preparing with our medical experts and health experts around how things will change on board. If we were to sail tomorrow, let's say, of course, there would be physical distancing, there'd be masks, there would be a significant amount of COVID-19 tests, which we've already procured the machines for the tests. And we'll do our best on Seabourn to create somewhat of a bubble. We are adapting our air filters. The ships have quite a significant exchange of air, 6 to 8 times an hour, once every few minutes, which is quite a significant flow. We're also adjusting the filter levels to be a higher level of filtration. So all those things are being set up to have what we think will be a nice bubble, let's say, a bubble experience, COVID testing and things like that. So now, when? Well, of course, what I tell everyone that asks me when we'll sail, I say, look, pick a date somewhere into 2021. Let's say summer, let's say fall, if you want to all the way pick to 2022. As you go further into the year, we would hope that the chance of sailing goes increasing. So we have right now the ships on pause until sort of May time period, where we pick up ships, in Europe and in the US. And we very much hope that we'll be sailing, and we'll look at it on a rolling basis. We're certainly preparing to be sailing, but we'll be on a rolling basis. Again, my advice is that guests should pick one of those dates in the future and just book something, okay? Because then you have something to look forward to.
We all need that. And of course, you've got flexible policies as well, Josh. So should the customer change their mind, or indeed things change in terms of when your sailing recommences, customers have plenty of flexibility, of course, to be able to change their mind without the penalties that would be there in normal times.
The penalties are gone, and I think the reality is this. When I talk to guests, they say, for me, it's not a matter of whether I'm going back on Seabourn, it's when, but I want to pick a time, I want to put something on the books, like you said, have something to look forward to is an important emotional feeling for us.
Absolutely. You only need to look at how people count the days down and the weeks down. And because we've missed so much this year, I think that holidays will be more important in the future. One of the things that we're finding is customers are booking for further afield. So they're perhaps picking some exotic destinations, trips of a lifetime. They're generally wanting to upgrade their suite category. They're happy to maybe spend a little bit more because they feel they've missed out this year. Are you seeing similar trends?
We are, absolutely. I want to show you something here. I'm going to just pop something up here. Take a look at this.
Wow.
Okay, so what are we looking at? We're looking at the brand new Seabourn Venture, which is an ultra luxury expedition ship, the first of its kind. This is still in production. This is a rendering. But what I want to point out in this image is that this ship will start its inaugural season visiting the Northern Lights. So this is a first in kind, ultra luxury polar class 6 expedition ship. It means it can navigate ice about 1.5 meters thick. And it can take you pretty much anywhere in the world, anytime you want to go. And that's the kind of experience that we see guests signing up for in droves. Because
it's such a unique experience, right?
It's a unique experience. It's also, I have to tell you something, Allison, it's more isolated. You're going to the northernmost regions of the planet, and it is definitely one of these experiences which is a once in a lifetime moment. The ship itself I just showed you is 264 guests. The Seabourn ships in our backgrounds, both of us, are between 400 and 600 guests, the largest space ratios you'll find anywhere. So all of a sudden, you have a way to vacation with space built in, with a hospital on board, with medical grade facilities on board. It does change the dynamic. I want to go away for pleasure, but I want health and wellness at the center of it too, don't I? Especially now.
We've talked a little bit about the types of trends that we're seeing with customers. The other things that we're finding is that people are booking further out. And by that, I mean they're booking with a longer lead time. So they're wanting to travel late 22 and even into 2023, which feels like forever away, but it will be here before we know it. So what can you tell us about what you've got coming in your summer 22 and winter 23 programs? Is there anything new on the horizon, new destinations maybe?
Absolutely. So we'll be releasing these itineraries in the coming months, and I would encourage people that are interested to contact 6-Star Cruises and get on wait lists so that you're in the front of the line on those. So we'll be releasing our World Cruise 2023, which will be a replication of the one we weren't able to run this year. Mm-hmm. And that was extraordinarily popular. It sold out in fast order. As we recently announced, our World Cruise for 2022 is pressing at near levels, record levels. So those are some examples of some of the things that are new, but we have stops throughout Egypt, the Middle East, Haifa, all in the Eastern Med. Our Eastern Med itineraries are extremely popular, and I would think be terrific for the UK guests. Who does not want to go from Venice to Athens and sail in the Greek Isles and have an exclusive moment at Ephesus? And of course, our partnership with UNESCO is such an extraordinary partnership for sustainable tourism,
which is so important and is becoming more and more something we're asked about. Customers are increasingly interested, the public are increasingly interested in sustainability and the environment, rightly so. So I think that's a key message for us to make sure we share with the customer. I've got one last question for you, and it's a less serious question. Of all those lovely destinations you've mentioned, what is on your bucket list? So when we're allowed to travel more freely like we used to, where is top of your list to go?
Well, I want to tell you something. I've been missing family, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some of my family in the coming weeks. But there's other family I haven't seen in a while, so I will be sure to make a trip to go see those people. As far as leisure travel goes, on my bucket list, the Northern Lights on the Seabourn Venture, for sure. I want to get off the ship in one of the shore excursions don my ski gear, ski throughout the day, and come back to the ship for a hot cocoa in our lodges. That sounds amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Antarctica, Antarctica is definitely on the list. And by the way, I mentioned before Venice to Athens, and I'll tell you what, that's on my bucket list, and it's also on the bucket list of a very important person, my wife, who makes most of the travel decisions. So I believe if you want to know the order, we'll be doing it. Look for us in Venice.
That will be the top. Great. Antarctica is definitely on my bucket list too. And the more time we've spent in lockdown and in restrictions, I think the longer your bucket list gets.
No question. So what do we want to say to our guests? We want to say, just pick a few voyages, put them on the books, have something to talk about, have something to look forward to. Call 6-Star Cruises. They're standing by. And if there are any questions anyone has, we're here to help.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Josh. We look forward to seeing Seabourn sailing again, and we look forward to seeing those exciting itineraries for 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much.